All right. Hi there. I filmed this video, and after I was done filming it, I made a rough draft and edited things together. And I realized that there were just several parts where I don't feel like I was as clear as I wanted to be, and several parts that I kind of wish I had explained just in a different way. However, I can't really reshoot a lot of it, mainly because part of it involves making something for a first time with no recipe. And since I've already done it, it kind of doesn't make sense for me to reshoot that. So what I've done here is I'm just attempting to kind of salvage this idea because I think it's super important. So I'm going to record some voiceover and try and make a video that makes a little bit more sense. The core of the message is still the same. Today I'm in my kitchen, not in my band room. Today I want to show you how I teach my students to not worry so much about how they stack up against other schools, and to instead focus on what they're doing, the things that they can do to make their performances better, and how to sort of think about making music in a healthy way that doesn't involve a lot of tears when they lose to that one school that they always lose to. To do that, we're going to learn about what I call the Brownie Analogy. The Brownie Analogy comes in three parts. The first is the foundational part. To demonstrate this, what you see me doing here is I'm making a brownie in a mug with my daughter, but I don't have a recipe. I'm just randomly putting ingredients into this mug, microwaving it for a minute or so, and then pulling out what could not be mistaken for anything but a brownie. Almost any collection of ingredients, if you mix them together and cook them, will create something which could reasonably be called a brownie. You don't have to have a specific proportion and set of ingredients. You might wind up with something that is very different on the other side, but you'll ultimately end up with something that probably tastes pretty good. It's why Cheryl from accounting can bring in that famous dish that's made from sweet potato and maple syrup and kale and cocoa powder and proudly put a sign that says keto, vegan, paleo brownies by them. And when you're making music, the process of making music is already the good part. Just like how any collection of vaguely sweet ingredients turns into something that's tasty enough to eat and be called a brownie, almost any collection of music making, even if it's not technically astounding or masterful, should already be considered a huge win. It's already delicious. It's already something that you want to eat. We need to kind of shift our brains to think making music is the part that we want to celebrate. That's a brownie. You would never mistake that. If I gave that to you and asked you what it was, you would never say anything other than, that's a brownie. I've just taken some ingredients, some sugar, some flour, some oat milk. I didn't even have regular milk. Some cocoa powder. Then I just kind of randomly threw them into a mug. And I cooked it in the microwave for a minute. And out came something that I would never turn down if somebody gave to me. The second part of the brownie analogy is that the brownie is unique in that if you ask 5 different people what makes a good brownie, you'll get 7 different answers. Some people want their brownies to be more like cake. Some people want them to be more like fudge. Some people want them to be chewier or softer. Some people want them to have that little skin that flakes off the top. Some people want a middle piece. Some people want an edge piece. Some people are correct and want a corner piece. But everybody's taste in brownies is a little bit different. And similarly, everyone has slightly different taste in music. Some directors prioritize different things, some students have different capabilities, and as we perform music and we get feedback from people, we can take that feedback and we can learn to adjust our recipe to get something else on the other side. Neither one is objectively better, but rather subjectively preferable. If we're sold on part one, we can start to take feedback in stride. We can learn that sometimes people give us feedback that is maybe not going to result in the kind of brownie that we want to make. Then sometimes we can look at another school and we can, rather than making excuses about why that school is better or worse than we are, we can start to look at what they put into their recipe for making their music. Then we can ask if there are any ideas from that that we want to take. When you make a brownie, sometimes some random people will decide that that brownie was really good. So what they do is they come along and they go, hey, I really liked the brownie that you made. Here is a scoop of ice cream to go with it. Now, this ice cream is nothing special. The addition of this ice cream makes the brownies a little bit better. But a brownie without the ice cream is still delicious. A brownie without the ice cream is still something that you want to eat. And it's really hard to screw up a brownie. Don't put enough sugar on. It's maybe not as sweet as you would like it, but it's still a brownie. Put a little bit too much liquid. Okay, it might be a little bit gloopier than you want it to be, but it's still a brownie. I've taught this for years, and this has allowed my students to finish a performance that they didn't feel that great about and go, I think I didn't make the best brownie today. And I get to say, why don't you think about the reasons that you made a less tasty brownie than you wanted to, and next time, maybe you try to make a different brownie. And they go, okay, I'll do that. It has made the music making process so much less stressful. Now, the real trick here is that you can tell your students this, but the real person that you need to convince that this is the way to go is you. You have to think about this. You're not going to change this overnight. You still have competitive kids. I still have competitive kids. But what I try to do is when I catch the students or myself being competitive, I try and catch them and say, what are some things about that other person's brownie that you might be able to take and add to your brownie to make it better, to make it more special? And ultimately, my kids have taken that and they've gotten really good. So school's already started, but go make a brownie.